this evening. My name is Ross Barnett, and I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is September 9th of 2017. My home group is There's a Solution. We meet in Holly Springs. It's a suburb outside of Raleigh, about 30 minutes. We meet Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 o'clock. So if you're ever in the area and want to come check out a good meeting, come on by. I'm supposed to tell you tonight what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. All I can say about right now in my life is I owe it all to Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, I was traveling down a bad path the way I was living, and quite honestly, I wasn't going to make it much longer due to the things I was doing and the life I was living. So all thanks to Alcoholics Anonymous for giving me the life I have today. So I'll just give you a little bit of background about myself, and then just go into talking about what alcohol did to me, and then how Alcoholics Anonymous has helped me in my life. So I was born in Raleigh, North Carolina, and grew up in a small town that's a suburb of Raleigh called Fuquay-Varina. I mean, my childhood, I can't say like it was a bad childhood. I mean, my parents were divorced very young, so as a 5-6-year-old, that was a very confusing thing, like parents getting divorced. But besides that, I mean, had everything I needed and most everything I wanted. So I can't say like my childhood or my upbringing or anything like that was why I did the things I did. Quite honestly, I just like the effects produced by alcohol, and that's why I'm an alcoholic. I can't blame it on my family or my situation, because I mean, quite honestly, I was raised in like an upper middle class home in a suburb of Raleigh, so like can't say I was like dealt a bad hand. So I mean, early on, I saw like the effects of alcohol and substance abuse. Thinking back on it now, I really didn't know much, like really didn't pay attention much, but like if I think back to it now, like it was definitely going on. I had an uncle who struggled with substance abuse, died of a heroin overdose like 5 years ago. So just seeing that growing up, like I know my dad like kept a distance from him, and for many years, and as I got older, I started to see why, like his struggle with substance abuse. And I have an older sibling that's about 5 years older than me, so just like seeing her struggle with that as well. And she's good now, but just like seeing the turmoil that it caused on my family. And I didn't apply it to my situation at all. I just thought I was the only person that I was harming. But when you're an alcoholic, there's other people that are affected by your disease, and I've come to learn that and respect that. So yeah, growing up, like I said, I had a good upbringing, and I mean, I was very focused on like school and sports, and played baseball, and that's how me and my buddy Matt became friends early on, because he wanted to make a comeback in baseball and wanted someone to go out there with him. So it was good to connect with someone on that early on in sobriety, and a like-minded person, and started building friendships. Jumping all around a little bit, but yeah, growing up, focused on sports and school, and really didn't get into drinking until I was about a junior or senior in high school. I'd say with like the actions my sister was doing, my parents were a little bit more strict on me as I was growing up. She had dropped out of high school, and she was like a freshman part 2, like year 2. So I wouldn't even say she was like a sophomore, like repeated freshman year, and then like dropped out. So my parents were a little bit more strict on me, so I just focused on in school and sports, and didn't started drinking until I was about 16. I remember the first time I got drunk, like it was yesterday. Have you ever been to most of y'all been to a mall? I think everybody's been to a mall. There's just a place in the mall in Cary, North Carolina called Sbarro, and it was like a little pizza joint, and like got some pasta, like the best thing to eat before your big night of drinking, and just got really drunk and drank more than I should have, and that's a common theme in my story. And like as I'm like leaving the party, like in my friend's car, like just throw up all over myself, and I'm staying at a friend's house, and he's like, "Be quiet, like we can't wake up the parents," and like fall on the stairs and like roll back down and fall down the stairs. So like after this experience, some people are like, all right, maybe the next time I'll take it easy, maybe have a couple beers. But in my experience with my drinking, like I never was a person that just drank one or two. I was always just trying to get as drunk as I possibly could, and love to try to do that as much as I possibly could. It's crazy, like seeing my fiance, like now she like barely drinks like a glass of wine, a beer here and there, and it's just like such a foreign thing to me. Like, how do you do that? Like, I could never do that. It was like go big or not at all. So I'd say like as I got farther along into high school, like the frequency I was drinking definitely increased. Definitely saw like me trying to find more times to drink or trying to hang out with the older kids so I could get them to buy me beer, and it definitely became a thing that was like always on my mind at that point. Like always trying to find someone whose parents are going to be out of town so we could have a party, or let's take a day trip to the beach just so we can drink, or whatever it was. I mean, just trying to revolve like every activity that was like not with parents or in school, like around drinking. And that was a lot of my life from 16 to 26 when I got sober. So did that, and then my first year of college, I played college baseball at a school not too far from here, probably an hour from here, Wingate University outside Charlotte. And for me, and I know from other people I've heard stories and just friends I've talked to, like that feeling you get when you go off to college and like you don't have those parents looking over your shoulder, like telling you what to do, or you got to answer to them like, hey, I'm going here, I'm going there. Like when I went to college that first year, it was like just freedom. Like I could do whatever I wanted, and definitely started drinking every day. My parents gave me a credit card to like use on like school related stuff, and damn, if I didn't do a lot of projects throughout that time. Just like saying like, hey, I need to go get this, I need to go get this, and most of the time it was go get a 24 pack of PBR at the grocery store. Needless to say, when you're doing those things, like you're not really focused on what the main objective is in college, is to get an education. So like didn't do too hot that first year, and barely was able to maintain like a 2.0 GPA. And I mean, college sports is a full-time job, and going to practice and lifting weights, study hall, all that stuff. I just was not about that after like experiencing it for a year. I was like, I really want a real college experience. So the college I chose to go to after that, I had never been to. I knew a couple people up there, and just decided to apply, got in, and was like, all right, I'm going here without even visiting the school. And that was Western Carolina University. It's like 45 minutes west of Asheville. And yeah, I went up there and did the whole fraternity thing, and to me that was like one big party for 4 years. A lot of people, like I said, when they're going to college, they're like there to get an education, go to class. But to me, it was like, maybe I'll do that if I have enough time. Because I got this big party that's going on at like 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. And like, to me, I don't know, it seemed like every day was a big party to me. And doing whatever I could, whatever means I needed to do to be able to support that habit. I mean, selling other stuff to like get money to support my habit was a thing I did most time through that period, and got in a little bit of trouble while I was up there. I mean, like possession tickets, drunk and disorderly, hit and run. That hit and run story is pretty funny. Like I was like hammered drunk, blackout, and like backed my truck up into like this girl's car, and was like, can we just talk about this tomorrow when I'm sober? And she was definitely not about that idea. She called her parents, and next thing I know, I'm getting back to my house, which was the fraternity house, and there's a sheriff that pulls up and try to get in his car with a mixed drink, and he wasn't really too fond of that either. So Yeah, I was living my best life up there for a while, and at least I thought so. I mean, most kids when they're going to like class, they got like their book bag full of like books and notebook to take notes, and me, I had like a half gallon in my book bag at all times, and like would in between classes would like go take pulls of the whiskey. During that time, I was a broke college student, so it was Evan Williams Green Label. That was my go-to, and yeah, did that. And there was a convenience store on campus to go drink some Miller High Life 40s or during my breaks, and yeah, I mean, completely alcoholic behavior while I was living up there, and even people were like saying like, "You're an alcoholic," straight up to me, and like I like thought that was a cool thing. Like I thought being like the guy that was able to drink like so much alcohol and be able to party a lot was really cool, and man, it's not. I mean, that life definitely took a toll. I mean, I was more worried about drinking and drugging and doing all that stuff than I was about some other things that should have been very important during that time. I think around that time, around that like hit and run incident, that was like towards the end of my college tenure, and my parents like asked me straight up. They were like, "Are you going to change like the lifestyle you're living?" And to me, I really wasn't like really wasn't affecting anybody, or so I thought. Like, oh, my parents they got to pay a couple $100s in lawyer fees, and I got to go to some community service. I mean, that's not bothering them too much, is it? And really didn't think about like how my actions were affecting other people. Just like completely selfish, self-centered, and all I cared about was me and getting that next drink. But somehow, some way, got a degree from that college. I don't know how, but showed up enough, and was just a warm body in the seat for so long, and C's actually did get a degree. So, yeah, I graduated from there and moved back to Raleigh, and I was trying to think of my next move. This is where I could definitely like see that my drinking was a serious problem, and my parents were starting to see that as well. Like, I was working for my dad, and he was in the steel industry, and worked for him during the summer that year, and was living with them, and every day it seemed like I was asking my mom like, "Hey, can you go to the grocery store and get me some beer?" And like I was drinking like a 12-pack a night after work, and I was drinking Blue Moon at the time. I thought I was real classy drinking Blue Moon, and it just shows me like I can't even like spend time with my parents without having a drink in my hand or being intoxicated, and that's a very sad thing. Through most of my teenage years and a majority of my 20s, that was the case. And there was other things I was messed up on too while around them, and things I'm not fond of and proud of doing. And that's people you're supposed to spend the time with the most and love on the most, and I just wasn't there. I was all worried about myself, and my addiction just had a complete hold on me. So to continue to keep living the way I was living, I wanted to move and get out of Raleigh. I thought that was the great idea. So once again, like picked a place I'd never been to, heard of, Greenville, South Carolina, and decided to move there for a couple years. Found a job down there. I'm a surveyor in construction, and got a job down there doing that. So moved down there, and when you're by yourself and don't really know anybody, like things just kind of ramped up and started being like drink. I was always a big person like on going out and like going to the bar, but like when you really don't know anybody, I was doing a lot of drinking at home, and definitely seeing where I was definitely an alcoholic. Every day after work, like get off work, go get some beer and just drink until I passed out, and do it all over again. And when you're working and got money and making pretty good money, like, and you're still unable to pay your rent and like your bills. Like, I was spending all my money on alcohol and other things, and yeah, just not living a great life whatsoever. Things really caught up with me down there. I think it was about 23, 24. Yeah, I think it was 24th birthday. I got DUI on my birthday. I got really mad. I was out at the bar with a couple guys that had moved down there from college, and the Panthers, surprise, surprise, were doing bad. They were losing, and I got really mad and left the bar, and like, I lived off like this main road in Greenville near downtown, and there was somebody that was pulled over, and I was like, oh crap, this must be a roadblock, and like whipped a Yui real quick and thought I was going to get away. Whoop, whoop. Nope, he caught up with me. And when he came up to the car, I was like, don't even waste your time, man. He's like, we still got to do it. So did that field sobriety test, failed that, and went to jail. And you would think people who are like in jail for a DUI, like maybe I'll slow down drinking, but the whole time I was in there just like thinking about that next time I was going to drink, like it wasn't that bad. I just got a DUI. Down in South Carolina, well, in the particular area I was living in South Carolina, I blew like a .13, and they don't take your license unless you blow a .15. So like, oh, it's not that bad. I didn't lose my license. Like, I'm still driving around. So, kept on doing the same thing, and finally came back to North Carolina for Thanksgiving, and went on a real crazy bender while I was here for the holidays. Like, it wasn't about like eating turkey and stuffing with the family. It was about like drinking and doing that stuff that'll help you stay up and drink more. And it came to like Sunday when I was about to go back, and I was withdrawing like really bad. I'd gotten shake, like now that I know what it was, I was having shakes in college for a long time if I didn't drink, and like I just thought I was really hungover. That's what I thought the feeling was. And then, so that feeling was happening when I was supposed to go back to South Carolina on that Sunday, and like finally just came clean to my dad. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. Like, this sucks. Like, I need to get help. And went to a detox like that day, and detox in there. Got me on that Librium, and slept for about 5-6 days. And then went to Fellowship Hall in Greensboro. And while I was there, I thought I was like really gung-ho about getting sober. Like, I was going to like meetings and while they were in there, and meeting people and doing all that good stuff. But got out of there and went to an outpatient place, and I didn't take it seriously whatsoever. I thought it was okay, like in early dry time. Wouldn't even call it early sobriety. Like, it was cool to like still go to keggers and like ride around with people while they're smoking those wacky cigarettes, and yeah, it was not good surroundings to be in, people I needed to be hanging out with when I was trying to get sober. And surprise, surprise, I went back to drinking. And I was going to this outpatient towards the end, and like drinking and like going in there and like, hell yeah, I'm still sober, like doing the thing, and I wasn't at all. And so the next, I was 24 when that happened, and the next 2 years it was completely miserable. I got mixed up in a bunch of stuff that I shouldn't have been doing, and drinking all day. I mean, every day. I mean, right when I got off work, I'd go get an 18-pack of Rolling Rock, and that was my thing. And just drink until I passed out, and wake up and do it again. And with the job I have, you need to like do math all the time, and it's not really good when you're taking these like sedatives to like be able to function in the morning, and drinking all the time. And so I wasn't a very good employee, and wasn't a good son, wasn't a good friend. All I cared about was drinking and that lifestyle. And I finally came to a realization that like it was going to catch up with me, and I was going to like die to this disease by, I mean, my liver was shot. They told me that when I got out of rehab, like I was on the verge of cirrhosis of the liver at 26 years old. So, and the other things I was dabbling in. I won't go into detail about that, but stuff that's out here killing people left and right. And I was messing around with that, and so just the lifestyle I was living, like my days were numbered if I kept doing that. And I don't know, it was a conversation with a friend that really brought me to this realization. Like, he was someone that I used to like drink and use with, and he was just telling me, like, hey man, like the lifestyle you're living, it's really scaring me. For the longest time, like, you know, when you're drinking, like you have people that are using and drinking with you, you always have to think, oh, I'm not as bad as that person, I'm not as bad as that person. But the writing was on the wall that I had a serious problem and I needed to get help. So went to lunch at a K&W cafeteria with my parents the next day, and just broke down and told them what was up, and went to that same detox again, and then went to Wilmington Treatment Center down in Wilmington. And for the first time during this time where I'm drinking and an alcoholic, I was finally ready to listen. Like, got down there, and they have meetings all the time while you're in there, and you meet with a counselor and tell you to like get involved, and you need to go to AA and do all this good stuff. And I was finally ready to listen. I was finally realizing like that I had a problem. I mean, clearly an alcoholic. The way I'm living is not good. I need to change this up if I want to continue to live, like let alone live, but have a good quality of life. So I was in there for 31 or 32 days, not the typical 28. I guess I was a rare case and needed that extra 3 or 4 days. No, I'm just kidding with y'all. But yeah, when I got out of there, they were saying like you need to get a home group and Alcoholics Anonymous. You need to get a sponsor. You need to get active in Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's what I was willing to do. I think what really struck a chord with me while I was in this treatment center is like my parents came to visit me, and they're like, all right, we're just going to break it down for you. Like, you're either going to like choose this lifestyle or you're going to get sober. And it was like a crossroads for me. Like, all right, I'm either going to like lose the people that are most important in my life, or I'm going to choose alcohol and drugs. So I chose to see what Alcoholics Anonymous was about and try to get sober. And I joined a young person's group in Cary when I got sober, and met Matt over here in outpatient treatment, and got a sponsor within the first 3 or 4 days that I was in Alcoholics Anonymous. And when I got sober, I was 26, and there's a handful of guys around the same age that got sober. So it was cool to have a core group of guys I go into meetings with and hanging out, and I mean, going to NC State football games. Sorry if you're Carolina or Duke fans out here, but just doing stuff like that. I mean, for a long time I didn't think like you could have fun if you weren't messed up, if you weren't drunk. And I could clearly see like I can do this. Like, I can have fun doing things when I'm not under the influence of alcohol. So with that sponsor, I started working the steps, and the steps were extremely beneficial to me. Like step one, clearly like my life is completely unmanageable. I could see that, like I was barely able to pay my rent. The only time I was eating if I scrounged up enough change to go get a McChicken from McDonald's. So yeah, my life is completely unmanageable. And I'm ruled by alcohol. Like, it's got a grip over my life, and I can clearly see that. Moving into steps 2 and 3, like realizing like my life, I'm acting insane. I need a higher power to bring me back to sanity, and turning my will over to something bigger than myself. I don't think that was a very hard concept for me. Like, there is something bigger than myself. Like, I'm lucky, like I'm still here today. Like, I'm lucky that I was even given the opportunity to like go to treatment the second time. A lot of people aren't given that opportunity. Like, when they go to treatment, go back out, all right, it's over for them. Like, there's been a lot of cases in my life where I can see like something that's bigger operating up there, and it was not a very hard concept for me to believe in like a higher power, and choose to call that God. Never grew up like in church whatsoever. Just wasn't my parents' thing at all. But I can definitely see, like, me and my fiance go to church now and see it's a very helpful thing. Just believing in something bigger than yourself, and it's crazy how you hear some of the same concepts you hear in here and there. Surprise! Wow. So 4th step, I mean, just writing all these resentments and fears, and I was a very, very fearful person, and had some resentments, and needed to work through that, needed to write that down, and just clearly see that stuff on paper. Like, the main thing that kept popping up was me. Like, I was a reason why a lot of stuff had happened in my life, and no worries, no worries. And we're back from commercial. Yeah, just clearly seeing that stuff on paper, and the 4th step was a really pivotal moment in my sobriety. And then working into the 5th step, I remember I did my 5th step. It's like tradition for our sobriety family to like go out by like the Hall River near Chapel Hill and like go walk out there and do the 5th step. And at this particular time, I think it was like January, and it was like 15 degrees and snowing. So it was a really like awesome thing that my sponsor took time out of his day to like go out and hear my 5th step, and getting all that stuff out, and telling him my life story from like as far back as I could remember until that point. And very emotional and very powerful experience with my sponsor. And like, I was very fearful going into that, like, damn, is this guy gonna like respect me, want to talk to me after I tell him all this stuff? And it was awesome just like telling another alcoholic, telling another person like all this stuff, and then not judge you whatsoever. Also, like, while you're doing this, like, tell you experiences of their own life that are relative, and that was a great experience. And then moving into like 6 and 7, like recognizing defects of character and asking for those to be removed. Oh man, like, I just thought I was like a nice guy that liked to drink a lot, but I really do have a lot of defects, and recognizing those, and my significant other likes to bring those up a lot of times and make me aware of them. But I remember I was about 4 or 5 months sober, living with my parents at this time, and my dad's like, "Hey, when's your next meeting?" I was kind of like puzzled, looked at him like, "Oh, it's this day." He's like, "All right, I want to go with you. I want to tell him like how you're being lazy, how you're still an asshole." So that's a good one, I know. So yeah, that just like I have defects of character. I'm human like everybody else, and I'm gonna fall short all the time. It's just awesome. It's gotten to a point in sobriety where you're able to recognize those things and correct them and make adjustments, and I'm still growing every day. And getting into like step 8 and 9, those were awesome steps for me, like writing down these people that I had wronged and like going to make amends. I was really nervous about like making amends, like, oh, what reaction am I going to get? Like, it's going to be positive, it's going to be negative, like I think I should have a red carpet rolled out for me because I'm sober now. So I like really sought some advice on 8 and 9 from guys in my home group and other groups that I went to in my network, and just asked their opinion on it. And it was some really valuable advice. Like, don't go into your amends process with any expectations. Like, these people have earned the right to, like, if they want to like say like da 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 da, they've earned this right because you've put them through so much hell. And that was some really good advice that I applied, like going into the amends process. Like, hey, if they got to say this to me, like, just take it. Like, you put them through so much. My dad's deceased now. He died last year. But when I did the amends process, he wasn't very a man of many words, and he was like, "Glad you're doing good, son. Keep it up." And my mom. Just gave me a big hug and tearing up and like just so happy with like I changed my life around, and that was a good amends process. And then there was like making the amends to like someone who's deceased. Like right before I got sober, like my grandfather passed away like the month before I got sober, and like went to his funeral impaired, and just like making that amends, just like before I made the amends, my sponsor had me like write out a script, like write out what I was going to say, and just like reading that aloud. Definitely emotional time. Just showed like what state and what kind of person I was, like go to a grandparent's funeral, like messed up, and just showed that I was a very selfish person. And then step 10, doing a daily inventory. It's not something I do like regularly, like writing out a daily inventory, but like I have a conscience now. Like I actually care if I've done wrong to some people. Like when I was out there drinking and drugging, I didn't care who I wronged. Like if I did wrong to you, like I'll have to just charge it to the game. Like it is what it is. But I actually now care if I've done some wrong to some people, like, and I'll like to go correct that wrong, making amends. And it feels good to be able to recognize that stuff and like actually being a kind human. And like step 11 and 12, like trying to seek God on a daily basis, and then like carrying this message to another alcoholic. As I said, like church wasn't a big aspect of my life, and it's been awesome to like go back with my fiance was raised in the church and grew up in that, so it's been awesome to like go back with her and implement that into my life, and it's been awesome. And carrying this message to other alcoholics. I sponsored a couple guys through the steps, and it's been awesome to like see their lives change. One in particular, like he went, that dude's story is crazy. Whew. But he went back to NC State and finished up his degree, and now he's living out in San Francisco and got a good job working for the EPA. It's just, I mean, there's a lot of bright and talented people in Alcoholics Anonymous. It's just crazy, like when you put your mind and your efforts towards doing something other than chasing a drink, like what you can do. I got really discouraged when I first started like sponsoring people. A lot of them were going out, like back out to drinking. I was like, what am I doing wrong here? Like asking my sponsor. And he said just some very valuable advice, just like keep extending your hand out to the next alcoholic. You don't know like who you're going to touch on any particular like night you're at a meeting. Keep giving your number out there. Keep asking to help people. And that's what I kept doing. And I've taken a couple guys through the steps, and it's been, and they're helping me more than I'm helping them, helping me stay sober, like hearing them and their troubles through early sobriety. Like it's the same stuff I went through, and it's good to hear that stuff and be reminded of like why I keep coming to Alcoholics Anonymous. Just stuff I hear from them. And I mean, this program has impacted my life so much, and there's been a lot of great times, and there's been a lot of loss. I mean, like I said last year, my dad passed away on July 3rd, and we were just like out at the lake, Jordan Lake, enjoying some time. Like just been dating my now fiance for a couple months at that point, and just having a nice day out with the family. And I remember like he's laying back in the lake on his back, like, oh, this is the life. And like next thing I know, he's like laying in the parking lot dead from a heart attack. So like it's crazy, like just seeing like my dad die right in front of me. Like I did not resort to like going to drink or going to drug. That just shows like how much this program has changed me as a person. Because like if something bad, something good, it's a Monday, it's a Saturday, it's a Friday night. Like when I was drinking, like it didn't matter what it was, I was gonna go drink, and just like having something as serious as that like happen in my life, it's crazy. It just shows how much this, like I said, shows how much this program has impacted my life. Like working as an employee, like I can show up on time, like I can do a great job at work. I mean, it's awesome to be able to like people to depend on you and like be an employable person. Like I remember when I was living in Greenville with the company I was working for down there, and like I had my boss like have to take me home a couple of times because I was like having DTs and like shaking so bad. And now being able for people to depend on me, like I'm going to show up when I say I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there. Like I'm going to do a good job, and it feels good. And that young person's group that I was in that group for about three and a half years of my sobriety. I joined there as a solution in January. It just got to a point, I'm not talking badly of any group, it was my decision. It's what I needed. It just got to a point where I needed a group that had some more stronger sobriety time and had people that are in the phase of life that I'm about to enter into, like just bought a house, about to get married, want to have kids. So this group has a lot of people that have a lot of sobriety, and it's been a good group for me. Learned a lot and met some very quality people, and it's awesome. I love that group, and I'm glad I've joined it. I never thought that like the way I was living, any woman would want to marry me, but like just like being able to get married here and like coming up in March, like it's awesome. And seeing the change in my life just in regards to relationships, like I was just a taker most of my like time in regards to that. Just all right, what I can get out of this relationship. All right, I'm done with you. I'm gonna move to the next one. But just like this has taught me a lot, being like a committed relationship. Like holy crap, who thought communication was like gonna be so much work, and like having to grow in that. But it's been good. And it's all thanks to this program. I don't know. I can't say it enough. Like this program has completely changed my life, saved my life. Going on about to be 31, and the way I was living, I wasn't going to make it to that. And I owe it all to this program. I'm going to continue to keep coming back, keep going to meetings, continue to reach my hand out there. On Monday, it's been a while since I've been able to like go to take meetings into institutions and hospitals. That was a big thing I like to do for the first couple years of my sobriety, because I'd been in like a couple detoxes, a couple inpatient treatment centers, and like taking the message into these detoxes or healthcare facilities, whatever they may be, and just spread the message, and like seeing people with the same look that I had, like hopeless, and like asking like, what do I need to do to like get sober, have this way of life that you have? And when COVID hit, wasn't able to do that because of all the restrictions and whatnot, but was able to take a meeting in there Monday, and it felt really good to like meet some people that are just now embarking on this journey that we've been on, and wanting to get sober, and it feels good to like take that message in there. And I'm really honored y'all asked me to come down here to Southern Pines. I really don't know much about Southern Pines other than golf community, but beautiful place, and glad y'all asked me to come down here, and appreciate y'all letting me speak. So thank you.